We'd
like to welcome you all to the Way of Thought talk show program organized and presented by the People's Code team. And we'd like to welcome to all the audience, people of Myanmar, and the CDM soldiers and officers, as well as those who are not able to join the CDM yet. We'd like to welcome you all. My name is Capt, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. That we all know that military junta has been oppressing not only is the rank and files who are serving in the military, they are also violating their human rights and the other rights of the wives of their soldiers and officers as well. And it is deeply rooted in that in the story as well. And along with the Spring Revolution, where the entire population of Myanmar joined in the revolution, we are also seeing a strong armed revolution. And with the escalation of resistance and resistance across the world, that wives of the soldiers and the rank of that and of ranking officers, as well as for the female service personnel facing insecurity as well as exploitation and rights violation of their right as well. So here we'd like to listen to the experience and the challenges and difficulties of women that are female officers and as well as some soldiers and the wives of the soldier officers inside the SAC troops and their perspective, their ideas, and that their commitment to their participation to that to change the future of Myanmar through this revolution. We have invited some of the speakers to join in this today's show, and under the topic of the women participating in the revolution to change the system. So we have the CDM, the Corporal Htun, and the Thuzar, a wife of a CDM major, and now the Nway from the wife of a CDM, the surgeon as well. So I'll be your moderator and would like to welcome the participants to join us on Zoom in live and then ask questions directly as well. There will also be simultaneous interpretation provided in English as well. So we'd like to first introduce you all to Nway, and that Thuzar and that be already known to you. So we'll introduce them later. Nway, can you introduce yourself and also share us about why you have joined the CDM movement and for the reason because you have joined the CDM movement recently. Please introduce yourself. Good evening. My name is Nway. I'm a wife of a Cobra Nway that he had joined the CDM in the 19th of May 2022, and to join the CDM movement that since the first day of the coup, that we wanted to join the CDM movement although that my husband has tried it, but he was joined the media movement, and then he was also in other parts as well, and and he was away from the family. He also was transferred to another regiment, so he was not able to join the CDM immediately, and thus make him late in joining the civil disobedience movement. Thank you, Nway, for the short introduction. In that case, shall we start our talk show for today? First of all, that I would like to ask you that while you are in the I would like to first ask you to know whether how do you understand democracy and human rights while you were in the when you're living on the base, and that when the husbands or that your families are still in the military. So I'd like to first ask the question to Mahia, how do you understand while you are staying inside the SAC troops? How do you understand democracy and human rights, and how do you understand it now? That while I was in the troops of the SAC, we didn't know anything about democracy or human rights because it's very rare to see these words used as well. Because in the military, you always hear about orders, you also hear about the discipline, the regulatory framework, and that's the only thing you hear, that the discipline and you have to obey as well. When I joined the military, I was very young. I was only 18 years old. I just finished high school, and then they are calling for the recruitment that for the high school, I mean, I didn't really do anything outside. You were in all. I was always inside there. I was always in studies and do that. So you are, in a way, we can say that it's very very clear and simple simple life as student. And then when I went joined the military, they control by fear, they govern by fear, and there is always order. You must obey the orders immediately. And then why do we have to obey these orders? And that we also know that well that this is that we have to we are also in a way brainwashed into idea saying that I must follow my orders exactly, because only then I can become a good staff. And I didn't know about democracy or human rights as well. Now we understand that because we now know that democracy is okay to have different opinions, to try to build an understanding despite the differences. I start to understand this now, although I didn't understand while I was in the army. That and also human rights are that everybody when we are born we have these are the rights we are entitled to, but we didn't have these rights. That this often we only hear that human rights have nothing to do with the soldiers, and that in the military you don't have the freedom of speech. You're not able to express yourself freely. You are not able to express your opinions. You don't have the right to make decisions. You have to follow orders blindly. So this is how I understand it as well. And that at the same time, in some of the countries, it is important to have the right to be able to make a decision and to be able to think. And that all these all these shows that with that, when you have the right people are able to discuss, to be able to share different opinion, that helps. In other countries, if you look at it, since the children, when they go to school, and the children not only teach about the subjects matters in class, they were taught about critical thinking. So this critical thinking helped them develop their skills and to be ability to able to think as well. So they are also able to use this critical thinking in the real world as well. In Myanmar, for the to promote human rights is important, so that people understand about the human rights. And then when people know that what their rights are, that they have the right to speech, they have the right to opinion, they have the right to believe. And then they say that that then we'll only understand that, oh, he has a different opinion, he is different from me, so he is not good. No, then that if you don't understand the differences in opinions, if we don't appreciate the differences, then that is also limiting, restricting ours as well. And that like blocking people from having human rights is like blocking people from enjoying their basic right as well. Thank you for sharing. Now, I would like to invite Methusa, who is married to a CDM major. Methusa, also, can you also share your opinion? That Good evening. For me, how I understand human rights is that all the people, since people are since birth until the death, until they die, they have a dignity to live. They have the right to education. They have a right to health, right to religion. That they also are entitled to the protection of the government as well. And while I was in the on base, living inside the military regiments, human rights, it was used as the human rights are these are the cheats, these are the deceiving wars and deception and the cheating lies and tricks that it was the other countries play to try to rave influence of Myanmar. And that so that that Myomin, who is now currently Minister for Human Rights, is well, he is just doing this because he's getting funding from the other countries, that they are lying, they are not telling the truth. Like so often they would. I would also like to say sorry to apologize to Myomin, because in the beginning we didn't know, so we were told that he was just spreading lies by trying to get money from the Western from the other countries. This one. So let me give a chance to Nway. How do you understand democracy and human rights while you're in the military? That How do you understand it now? Well, when I was in the military, I have heard of democracy, though I don't really understand what is democracy. I don't know what that is. That is as well. That right now that now that we now start to understand about human rights, and that also that now we start to understand human rights, we're seeing that, oh, we are not getting our rights, the rights we entitled to. It's not just me. I think all the soldiers, as well as in the army, navy, and the air force as well, and their wives are as well. I was in the air force, and that if I want to go back to our home at the other parents' homes, then we have to get we did not have to ask permission to go to the house of the parents. In however, in army, that they said that in the army, if you want to go, if your parents, one of the family member passed away, then you cannot just go home, you cannot just take leave, you have to ask permission to do your superiors for several times, and that it is complicated, that that the parents are that it is that this is a violation of human rights, because that as we are entitled to see our parents, and we're entitled to express our opinion. We also have the freedom to decide what is good for that's how I understand democracy and human rights, that you have the right to your own ideas, opinion, and also to be able to make decision for you in the military. And that I think so in people, for people living inside women inside the military, and you don't get as to right democratic rights, you don't get human rights, although that we may be inside we may be living on a base or working inside the military, that we are all human beings, we are all entitled to good rights as well. I think this all the rank and file, and that as well as and that their wives are also losing their human rights as well as a basic democratic right as well. Often they will say, oh, military has nothing to do with democracy and human rights, but however, often that lower rank that soldiers and their wives are being victims as well. And that when you have a daba or a public meeting inside the military, actually they say anything you want to say, anything you want, any issue you want to bring up, people are afraid to speak up, because if you speak up, then you'll be arrested, you'll be punished, and you'll be also be facing consequences. So even if you're difficult, you don't speak up. If you speak up, then this person will be targeted, and this person will be beaten, and that this person will be given difficult tasks, and they will be imprisoned, they will put into the brick, and therefore the officer will be sent to the officer will also be sent to the front line. So they use fear, so the people, even when they know that they think their rights are being broken, that be violated, they will not do, they dare not speak up as well. And then there is also a session 65. Session 65, we call it like I hate you, kind of you, that I don't like you, this kind of session, because they can do other you they can say that if you don't like a particular social officer, say your uniform looks strange, then there's your session with the you are taking action with the section 65. It's always like that. They will always abuse it like this. So often the senior officers will use a different the section 65 is used to discriminate, to oppress, and to prosecute that rank and file. So this is not new, there's been before. Then we also have the code of conduct of the military code of conduct, and they were even officers, and that that no other that the foot soldiers will have to test like that. But the code of conduct remain only in the books, and especially the officers are not good to their subordinates, and that's why we can say that human rights violations and democratic rights violation is quite rampant as well. That and so I would like to that so I would like to go to the second part of the questions. As a soldier, why? How do you feel about being forced into carry out army matters that are not related to you? So did you ever ask her that why am I being asked to do that? Or do they consider you? Do you consider that you are being married to a soldier, so you have to carry out the military issues as well? So what kind of ideas did you have when you are when the army or the base asked you to do certain things? Yeah, like when I was forced to do things that is have to do that is not ready to do. I mean, we didn't have a choice, and we have to do it, because if you say that we didn't have the right to speak to them, because we were also afraid, because there was fear as well, and that as well, that so we are afraid that our soldiers, our husbands, and the fathers will be punished. So we cannot even spoke up, and that we are really afraid that as well, and that so I have to that I have to we have to do it, even if we're willing to. And then how do I see is that when you are a woman who is married to this woman, that that as when you marry a soldier is the only person who is getting their salary, but the wives and the children are being asked to do careerless work. It's like getting and extra that slave without paying any wages at all. The soldier is the person, or soldier officer is the person who joined the military, but the wives and their children and his children are being abused, being exploited, and this is how the military dictatorship runs, because they will exploit everyone within their control. That so as a wife of a soldier, and that we have to carry out the orders we're given to them, and and also that sometimes that we also I also have raised the age question. That's like that. So I'm like that the commander and that the wife of the commander, what they will come, and then we have to wash everything. That I have to wash that that her underwear of that they said that normal no, that a full soldier should not wash it, and that her clothes, her underwear should be washed by only by the wife of the officer. And I didn't want to, but because there will be the repercussions on my husband, so I was not happy, I was frustrated, but I had to do it because in my regiment, in one of the regiments, one of my husband was based in a camp, and that the wife of the commanding officer asked me to do a task. I didn't know how to do it, so I didn't do it well, and then she blamed me, and that she said she blamed me, and then when I came back then, and that that we had the problem, and then my husband was sent to the front line immediately, and he was sent to an area where we didn't have any contact, and my husband when he had a when he my husband, it was called injury because he stepped on a mine, and it was only after he had stepped on a mine that we met each other back. That was a part of the oppression they put on the wives of the soldiers and that officer as well, and they would order us to do things that we don't want to do. We are forced to do. We are asked to do certain things, and they abuse the mandate and the power. That if your husband is in the military, if you live on the base, then you have to follow everything they say. So that is the challenge as well, and and also the way they act like a dictator, and it is so deeply rooted inside their military as well, and that so that that also something that we are also trying, that since 12th of that February, I have joined the CDF movement. I've joined in the resistance with the people of Myanmar, and that I want to that resist the military and fight for the changes, and that's why we have joined the CDF movement. So I would like to ask our next question to Siama Yele. So that Spring Revolution is really getting really very strong. And why do you think that people are joining in that Spring Revolution? How as a CDM soldier, how do you see this as well? And that why do you think people are bearing arms to fight back against the military? Why do you think people are committed to this Spring Revolution? Mayele, please answer. Sorry, I didn't realize that my microphone was off. Well, the cause of the Spring Revolution is that in 2020, people have that we know that people have a lot of hopes and aspirations and dreams for the future of Myanmar in the 20 election. And the military has broken the dreams and the hopes of the future of Myanmar by conducting the military coup. And that so why is the coup happening? Because back in the past, military have always been bullying, exploiting, they are interfering in the education, in health, as well as in administration. Military manipulates and control in different ways as well. That the country has never that it wasn't it is not visible when they are in everywhere they are controlling, but when now so later we start to see that before that in back in the past, Myanmar was one of the top countries that other countries around around the ASEAN have to come to Myanmar for shopping or to study. But from that reason, that has been changed into this kind of poor country that we have to rely on the others that they use fear to oppress the people, so people are simply afraid to speak up, and that that the frustration of the people, the anger of the people, the suffering that they have is like is just go on and on. So that people, that's why people also are saying that but that people have been suffering so much. So this revolution is a system for the people as well, from this spring revolution as well. And that they yeah, that also we are also seeing also a lot of support from the diaspora, from the all corners of the world. And this revolution is because of the oppression. The CDM also, we can also see the CDM as well. The CDM also is very strong. And that also that and also that we are also seeing that different ways as well. And that or the UBI or the NUC or the MEC or the MEHL, they always also manipulate their economy. They have their military elite and the economic elite. They control everything. So that it is also that that's why that people in Myanmar are not very happy about it. And that's why people are also fighting for it as well. And that and that no that they that when the people, that's why people have non-violently peacefully protested against that. And they will not, they will not accept that. They do not have the brains or the capacity to understand that people are demonstrating peacefully. It's a political situation to resolve politically, but they say they are very arrogant. And that they are very proud. And they see that they have the weapons. And that they would use violence as well. And that that what they would do is that they would not give water to the soldier. They were thirsty, they were tired. The soldiers were in the sand. So when the first non-violent protester Myato Kai was killed in Nepido in the early part of the revolution, that the soldiers were angry, they were tired, but they were in the heat. They don't get any order. And that they were sort of like brainwashed into thinking that they decide with their weapons, they decide with their guns. So that they want the non peacefully protesting crowd to disperse. They just use their weapons. So they don't care if the people are dying. They don't care if people are being killed. That therefore that's why, because of the violence and brutality against the peaceful protester, that people have to say we need to defend ourselves. And I do not blame the people. It is the military which is pushing the people into a corner. So we need to fight back, and we need to have weapons that we can fight, so that we can fight back. And that's why the Spring Revolution has come into the armed conflict. Thank you for sharing as well. That and that often that we also have heard that we also have heard that there has been that abuse, as well as on the abuse and the discrimination or the oppression as well. They often like that the wives of the foot soldiers will be asked to come to the officer house. And the wives will have to work like the servants. And that you don't get paid for it. That's how some of the those the wives of the soldiers, they have to leave their children home without any care. And they want to go and work as like as slaves, and paid like free labor space. And then if they're not happy, they will scolded, they will be shouted at. The husband also will be punished, and sometimes they even charged with the military code of conduct or the military laws against the wives of the soldier. And that is, I say, that's very that is a very dictatorial, authoritarian kind of action, and they're not democratic at all. And how I see is that why people are joining the flavor of democracy. People know what is democracy. That although democracy is still in the beginning, people know the essence of democracy. So they have a lot of aspirations for the future. And yet the military legitimately conducted at the coup, and the people are saying no, we don't accept it. And people started to start a massive public movement, going down, demonstrating in the streets. And military responded by using violence and by interrogation. There has been a high number of people who were killed during the interrogation by the military. There are also a lot of peaceful protesters who were killed in the street. And this is inhumane. This is brutal. This is simply a violence and terrorism. I think that's why people had to see the military is not. Military cannot be talked out. Military cannot be negotiated. And the military only speak the language of weapons and violence. Then we need to also to speak them in their own language, to show that they cannot win Myanmar. And that's why the young generation, or the Generation Z, he has stood there as well. And no, people will know clearly which side will win, that the people are very strong, very committed in this in the armed revolution as well. So let's continue with the discussion. So what is the difference between the way the military has been arming the wives of a soldier and that a revolutionary female fighter? Because you are both women armed women fighters. How do you see that? How do you see the difference between a soldier who are being forced to, bear weapons by the military and a revolutionary freedom fighter who is bearing arms? Well, right now, as a wife of a soldier, bearing weapons, I think they need to understand that the wives, if the wives of the soldier are given weapons, they are, instead of protecting the people, they are also endangering the lives of the people. They are, destroying the assets of the people. I think it is purposeful intentional that the military is arming the wives of the soldier, because they want to use them as weapons. They want to weaponize them as well. But when there is a youth or people of different age, joining the revolutionary movement and bearing arms to fight in this resistance, because they want to protect people, because they want to protect themselves, they want to protect the genocide of the Rohingya from happening ever again in Myanmar, to protect their ethnicity, to protect as from the as of violence, intentional violence of. I think this kind of free that armed resistance and women fighting in this, I think, is a noble fight for them. It is not for self-interest like that of a soldier, the wife of a soldier. So as a freedom fighter, as a resistance fighter, when women join the movement and in the armed conflict, it's because they're making the ultimate sacrifice. So I would say that it's different, as different as heaven and hell, that I think it's also different. The intention is also very different between these two. Thank you. Now, I would like to give a turn to Nway. I'm sure when you were in the army, you have to attend a lot of training. So I'm sure that the wives of the soldier has been asked to attend military training as well as on the weapon or operating trainings and such as well. So how do you see, that, may I also ask you that, how do you compare this experience with that of the resistance fighter? That the wives of the soldiers who are still inside the SAC, and you have to, bear weapons. You have to bring weapons, and sometimes you also have you are also given a mandate. You are duty to attend military training. They are ordering you to, give weapons, to bear weapons. When I was in the base, we were in the Air Force, so we didn't have that kind of fighting. But after the coup, after the coup, military coup has been, and if they were to ask me to, to do that, I will refuse to do that as well, because in this people, if the people are being asked to bear weapons, and that means that it is that in doing so, that I think this is very much against it as well, and that it is important because I think it is however, I support the armed resistance, the fighters, because they are bearing weapons to fight against the dictatorship. They are trying to protect the innocent and unarmed civilian from the violence, aggression of the dictator, because we have seen the dictator and its troops are, destroying the villages, burning them, killing people in mass. Air Force being ordered to bomb the villages, and that they cannot be stopped. They cannot be stopped by the peaceful protesters. So in Spring Revolution, armed resistance is necessary. And I would say those who are fighting with weapons in the Spring Revolution, I would consider them that they are working for the best as well. They are they are trying to I would say that they are trying to join that try to make the ultimate sacrifice. They are trying the noble fight, and that they are trying to fight for the righteousness as well. Now, I would like to ask the question to So, as a young military service woman, and that you have lived inside the military and work inside the military, is there equality with the men? That like the soldiers, what kind of discrimination have you experienced and had? As a young military woman, service woman, I was discriminated. Gender discrimination is pervasive, is everywhere. It's also in the civilian life as well. In the army, it is worse. The gender discrimination is really bad. Most of because women, they consider consider like the women must be discriminated, and they think, it's very patriarchal, so the women need to be oppressed, women should not be that time. For example, like men are allowed to go home, go out after the training, and that after the training, when I became a full-fledged the service woman, women, I'm not allowed to go out as well, and that you have to stay, you have to follow the orders, you have to do the training. Even after the training, when you are in when you are posted in the regiment, that you cannot think that it's finished, it's over, and that then they what they will do is that they do it's like being it's as well, and that though that what they will do is they will put us in they will make us live in the hostels, and the hostel doors are locked, and then even for the clothing, and they will say, oh, you cannot wear such clothes, you cannot cut your hair like this, and this will not, and you have to, that you always must have hair long, as you are your hair master, you have to sign an agreement to say, sign a report that say that I will not promise not to cut my hair, things like that. What I also have going to say is that one of my officers, so I have faced sexual verbal sexual harassment by my senior as well, and that as a woman being a victim of a sexual violence, I cannot say that you are, I'm going to the office every day, I'm seeing him every day as well, and that sometimes I don't even want to go to office, I don't want to see him, I don't want to see him, but that I cannot complain about it. I do not blame it because he is in a way, he is he has an important role as well. And so he, as a guy who has a, important role, and the officers also rely on him. So what if I go if I go and complain, then I will be the one, I will be in trouble. And they will say that, well, like if I complain him of, with sexual harassment, they say, is you the problem? And that it's because they will say like, if because you didn't, because you don't know, because of the way you live, because of the way you act, that you got this problem. They will say things like that. That I cannot. It is that the way, even if they are sexually harassing, even if you say the officer commanding also knows about it as well, and there's no that so that it is very, very difficult as well. That often these that and also there are also restrictions on their personal life as well. And most of these clerks who are the case officers, we have a boyfriend. He said that so it could be a civilian, it could be a soldier. I said that, who's your boyfriend, what is he like? No, you should not have a relationship with such a boy. And they will do that as well. Your boyfriend must finish high school, or at least if you cannot marry him. There are a lot of such restriction as well, like when you are single, that you can date anywhere you want to. But however, if they think that that they will say that that they will not allow you to date a man that they don't think is what you are like. So for example, if you wear a uniform, and if your uniform is tight, and they would speak out in front of everyone as well. And when I was in that in the army, and they would say, this is a military rules and regulation, and we have no choice but to follow it, and our personal freedoms are violated, our like personal privacy was violated. We didn't know that, we didn't know any better, because even if you want to go back home, that you say that you're not given a leave as well, that if only when they give leave that you are allowed to go. If they don't allow you, then that you are not allowed as well. And that some of the officers like some of the officers are like Christian, and that for the Christian officers, one of our officer is a Christian, but for this Christian officer, if he want a promotion, that he was told to convert to Buddhism because he is not Buddhist. And he said that I think it is also that as a person have the personal of a right to freedom, and that if this person has been in his position, if he were going to get a promotion because he is because he is Christian, that is not fair, because he should have the freedom of as well. And and also that what we also saying that they will always, officers, the senior officer will only give promotion or give favor, because there is a strong nepotism, and that as well, and that only those who follow their orders blindly. If they ask them, "Do you're a Christian? It doesn't work. You have to change the Buddhism. If you don't follow, then you will not get a promotion." So these are many challenges that we face on the ground as well. So thank you for sharing. yes, it is true that human rights violation is rampant as well, and that it is the same for not just for the officers but also for the others as well, and that often and that that wives of the soldiers were being demanded to attend military training, to wear military uniforms, and that also mean that there can be danger for them as well, and that putting them at risk and danger is also another form of human rights violation as well. Often, female service women are not do not get equal right as a serviceman. To give you, for example, like in the position, you have to attend the training, but when that for the servicemen get training as well, that often that women service women also get to get training, but although they finish the equal training at the time, they will not get recognized, will not get the promotion, and that normally they have that before they will give a lot of incentives that if you finish this that education plan, or that if you attend this you will get a promotion, but in reality that no, there are no reasons, there are no causes when that you won't get anything at all, and that so that doesn't matter for every officer or the rank or the low officer, it should be the same, that every time that you first you get your position as a you become a lieutenant, a captain, and a major, then you get promotion to a colonel, but they don't give you like that and that they will ask you to attend lots of trainings. They will ask for the service woman also to ask to attend trainings, but after attending the trainings, normally you should be eligible for the promotion, but you don't get that as well, though that so that then there are also limitations as well. So often these single officers will have problems, who have problems in their personal relationships, who they can date or who they cannot date, and there are also we also have heard about also harassment as well, and that sometimes some of the cases will be handled inside as well, and that they will make sure that will not be happen, that often that these they often that officers will just sort of like handle the case discreetly as well, because of the harassment or the assault or sexual violence that will not be they will not be able to go to court, but that will be resolved inside as well. So I think we should go to the Q&A session, because we have, I'm sure some of the participants would like to ask questions, so we'd like to go into that. Firstly, I think we have a first question for Thuzar, and there was a saying that if you are married to a soldier, and it's like it's like raising pigs. That means that if you are married to a soldier, in the end you get a lot of money if the soldier has fallen. Well, that is true. There was such a saying, but it could be possible in the past, but not now, because now it's no longer possible, because know that it's not like raising pigs now. The American soldier, it's not like that anymore, because that maybe if you have a pig, that will be more valuable. The soldiers or the officers that when the soldier is fallen, that they don't get even a compensation like that of a pig. Let me tell you that. So as if the lives of the soldier are not no important as well, and that even if if the soldier is killed, and that they don't get equal rights, that they will say that and that often that those who lost their lives in fighting, and that they get some that assistance in the beginning, but now not anymore right now, because military doesn't have budget, they don't provide it anything as well, and that even if they what they also do is that there's a budget that often that like when a soldier has fallen, the husband is no longer there, but at the same time what they will say is that if the woman has the previous government has given some that has given some loan for that as well, even for the loan that will be taken off, will be deducted from the compensation the wife receives, so that she will not be receiving the compensation in full as well. So there is another question from Kunyentu. It said the question to the corporal, to Sergeant Yeleletun, that often people say that it's easy to join the military but hard to leave. Is it the same for both servicemen and servicewomen? Yes, yes, military, true that it's not just not now, it's not in the Spring Revolution. Even before, it's very hard, it's very difficult to leave the military once you join, because it's easy to join the military, yet that but it's very difficult because they would really push as well. Sometimes even if your height is less or meet, and sometimes people who doesn't even meet 5 feet 2 inches, which is a standard height, they would let everyone in. But when you want to leave the military, however, and there's yes, before we had to make an agreement that we can only leave after 5 years, and that some people, if you want, they want to leave earlier, then they will not. If you attend the training, and if you after attend the training, and they said that no, but now it's but when you join the military, it's only 5 years contract. They said after you attend the training, oh, you get a promotion now. You have to stay in this position for 10 years, and then like they do it like that. So and then if you have more that as well, and that the more promotions you get, that the more years you need to serve the military, the mandatorily, but that they don't make the life in the military easier. It doesn't matter how bright you are or hardworking you are. If the officer find is an officer does not agree with you, the orders that we have to follow blindly to the letter is on their hands. So they favor them as well, and that for a man, if he has an age and he has a university degree, if he can go to OTS as a service, he can join that as well. But not as some of the female some of the service women, they are qualified, they have a university degree, but they are not, they even allowed that. So they said we are giving you a position as a clerk. You have reached a promotion, you have 10 years experience, and that you would, but however you'll not be able to leave, or you cannot apply for the officer for officer position as well. So that some people people don't want to stay like that. They want development, they want to make to progress. And they said that if you want development, why did you join the military? They were complaining that as well. So we didn't know that it would be like that. We didn't know that there will be so much discrimination oppression inside the military. We thought that if we try hard, we could achieve something. But when you are a woman,
သူတို့မှာအေးအေးခံပြီးတော့ထွက်ရတာမျိုးဖြစ်လာတယ်အဲအကြောင်းမို့စစ်ပြေးဆိုတာဖြစ်လာပါတော့တထဲမှာ
so you're not allowed to leave the military. You cannot resign your the position as well. And even if you have finished your service contract, you're not allowed to leave at all. 5 years or 10. Sometimes in this in their military handbook, they say that according to their permission, and that they said that even if we have finished the service contract, they said only if necessary they will be allowed to leave. So that means if they don't give you permission, then you will not be allowed to leave the military as well. Yes, we also often say that like joining the military is like entering a one-way road into the cave, like because there is a service contract, and that they don't also allow people to recognize people as such as well, and that before, and that because nowadays because of whatever happens, they will not allow people to leave. And because before, when you have HIV or the hepatitis A or B, hepatitis B or C, you are allowed to leave, but now they don't. So it is make it harder for them. So there was another follow-up question from Khin, and that there is a mobilization and the discipline committee. Is it a committee that controls the wives of the soldier? So may I like to give this question to Mr. Manunui.
Okay.
Yes. I think Khin question. I would say that so when what is in the military, that we know Daba, we have Daba. Daba is that Daba, they have a Daba, which is like a disciplinary committee meeting. And that they also have a SIGO, which is they call it the mobilization and the discipline committee. That is what we say is that they will do mobilization. By mobilization is they are trying to use propaganda. They are trying to put propaganda on the people. So what they will do with this committee is that they will oppress the service women. They will also oppress the servicemen who did not provide bribery or corruption to them as well, because there is a strong nepotism and corruption. So if you don't do that, if you don't sort of like flatter them or give them gifts, that you will be oppressed as well. Konyetu also have another question. So that so it is So he's saying that it's quite so respects to the for respect to the CDM that moment as well. So thank you. I think we have we have answered to all the question as well. So let's try to wrap up our today's discussion. So here we have the discussion of CDM, that the servicewomen as well as the wives of the CDM soldier, they have joined in the CDM movement because they want to change. They want to contribute to the change in the future of their country. So now that you have joined it as well, and that I understand your participation in Spring Revolution to bring a better change. So what do you want to change? What kind of change do you want to see happen? And what kind of values do you want to be the basis for the future of Federal Army? And how do you want to improve the lives of the women are related to the military as well? The kind of changes that to respond to the question about the changes as well. I want that there's the mindset of the people to change. That I think the Spring Revolution has given us a lot of lessons learned. We have also learned a lot of lessons. Those who are also in this Spring Revolution will, I'm sure, have a lot of learning. So we want people to also to change their ideology as well, and that military is a military, and the soldiers actually are from the people of Myanmar. So I think it is also important that people also need to change along with them as well, because it is important to have that as well. If we have more better ideology and a better concept and framework on the military, then we'll also have better soldiers as well as officers as well. What we want, the future Federal Army is a professional army, the soldier that focus, that the Federal Army focus on its task of protecting their country. We don't want an army that will use the weapons to abuse the people, to target the people, and that we don't want the military to be taking important posts in the political system. We want the military to be the one prudent as well, and we also to promote the lives of women. It is important that if you look at developed countries around the world, there is even in developed countries that is we are still seeing challenges as well. That in Myanmar, the situation that is also worse than that as well. There's even in a democratic country, and that where there are a lot of human rights, and that there still are a lot of problems. So I think it is important that women also need to understand as well, that we also need to be able to we have to try very hard to be successful as well, and we have seen we in the military we see discrimination, we see oppression. People don't are afraid to speak up. People don't talk about what is happening to them. They suffer silently. But we should be in the military. The soldiers should be able to speak up, and for the service women to have a good living, good standard of living, and also to be able to achieve a progress as well. Thank you. That I would like to ask the question next to you, sister. That how do you want to see the future of Federal Army? Well, what I would like to is that we want to have a future Federal Army that follow the international standards, because that is a future Federal Army that is based on the international standards and democratic standard as well, and that women should be recognized. Women should be given equal opportunities, equal rights to education and promotion, and that so the women should be treated equally and considered for the equality as well, and that also for those troops who are still inside the army, that and that it is so they will also need to know that to give you example of a saying is that even one that it's like to give you a very rude example, that the fact that you are in a pit of full of full of that full of defecations, and that is important to understand that where you are to be trying to find a way out of it as well. So we also like to ask, like, how do you want to see that, what kind of change you want to see in the country, that in the future of Federal Army? What I've heard about is that there could be that you know, I've also had heard about the discrimination as well, discrimination where they will not recognize, and they will not recognize nor give a position as well. And that so what we want is that if you are come from a different ethnic group or different religion, you don't get promotion. I think if you travel around, I mean, need to be based on equal rights, no discrimination based on religion or the gender or ethnicity or the place of origin, and that it should be given equally to all the people. In the medical corps, often that is like the lower rank officer inside the different corps of the military, that Army, Navy, or Air Force. Often the lower rank foot soldiers, as well as the foot soldiers and their wives and children, their wives are being treated as well. Even if you know that you are being you are being abused, you are being exploited, and then that there will be a difficulty as well, and that they will put pressure on you as well, and that it is some that if you complain, the wives of them, they were like their husbands will be sent to prison. Their husband will be also be sent to the front lines on that. And sometimes some of the soldiers are even punished by that. That's why the officers on the ground, they are simply afraid to speak up. They are afraid that to say that, and that they are being pushed to understand that you have to take whatever being stand to you, because they said that, speaking up in the military is like hitting you against the wall. If you hit your head against the wall, then you will be there. You will have no choice but to do that as well. And that in the Spring Revolution, and that it is also important to understand that as well, and that if you that it is important to understand that there is no human rights, there is democracy. And what I want to say that they often say that the wall, it's like hitting the wall and they will push you in the fear. But my message to the non-CDM, the currently serving servicemen and women, and their wives and children, is that we are fighting. You don't have to hit your head against the wall. Now we have the Spring Revolution. We are trying to dismantle the wall so that we can fight back. That you should not be protecting your officers and the dictators who have been punishing you, who have been abusing you, who has been obsessing you for a long time. We are trying to dismantle the wall, and join forces with us to dismantle as well. Join the CDF movement and don't stay inside the military anymore. So we'd like to wrap up our today's discussion here. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you very much for joining us, and and also that we also like to thank all the participants for joining us as well. I would also wish that all the